Hey guys, I am on a layover today, so I thought I would make a few videos for you. Yes, a few. So if you see me with this outfit and hair and background for the next couple videos, or I might space out the releases, who knows, in between the other videos. But either way it goes, if this looks real familiar to you, that's because it is, because I'm about to sit here and film all of these at once. I am on a 30-hour layover in Tri-Cities, and it's actually beautiful out here. I'm going to let y'all see outside. But yeah, today's video, well, this first one I'm about to do anyway, is going to be on Flight Attendant Lingo. I know a lot of different companies are hiring right now, and I'll see, like, I don't know if you guys are a part of some of the groups on Facebook, but I'll see here and there in some of the Facebook groups where people are like, oh my gosh, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? And I know it can all get a little confusing. I was very confused at first when I first started, like even before I became a flight attendant. When I first started like looking into becoming a flight attendant in aviation and all that, there were a lot of little phrases getting thrown around, and I know it can be a lot all at once, so I thought I would make this video. I'm probably gonna make a few of these because I'm only doing 10 in this video. There are a lot of different ones. I feel like working in aviation, like especially flight crew, it kind of has its own culture, its own language or whatever like that. So yeah, I'm only doing 10 this video, so let's just jump right into it. The first term I want to talk about is CJO. A CJO is something that you want. It is a conditional job offer. So if you apply to an airline, you follow the process, and I will make a video on what the hiring process is like and what process you follow. But you pass all your interviews and all that, you make it to the end, and they like you, they will give you a conditional job offer or a CJO. And at that point, it's up to you to accept or decline. And if you accept, you go on to training. If you decline, then you don't have the job anymore. And it is called a conditional job offer because you don't get hired right there when you get the CJO. It's not official, you're not officially a flight attendant until you pass training. That is when you officially have the job. So that is why it's conditional, because it is contingent on you passing training. Not everybody does. So yeah, that's the first one, CJO. The second one is going to be TBNT, thanks but no thanks. That is the opposite of a CJO. So when you are in the hiring process and you're doing your interviews, you can really get a TBNT at any step in the hiring process. So yeah, it's basically just, we're gonna go with someone else. Thank you for applying, but no thanks right now. Apply again in the future if you really wanna be a flight attendant for this company or at all. Keep applying. Everybody gets well, I can't say everybody gets TBNTs. I got TBNTs before I became a flight attendant. So yeah, you just keep applying if that's what you really want to do. I know a lot of people get really down or like distressed, or they feel like, I don't want to say hopeless, but I know like a lot of people give up after a few. The thing is, becoming a flight attendant is hard. Like, being a flight attendant is great. Like, it's fun, it's great. But becoming a flight attendant, the hiring process, the training process, all of that is very hard and very stressful. It's a lot more hard and stressful than actually being a flight attendant is on like a day-to-day basis, unless something like terrible happens. Other than that, pretty laid back actually. So yeah, that's TBNT. My third little phrase, this third one is actually going to be two because it didn't make sense to me to do them separately, but I'm going to say forward and aft. So you'll also, if you see these written down, you'll see them abbreviated as FWD and AFT. Forward and aft, they're literally positions on an airplane, also locations. Like if you say something is at the aft of the plane, it's at the back of the plane. If something is at the forward of the plane, it's at the front of the plane. Also, it is positions that you work. So if you are working forward, you're working at the front of the plane. If you're working aft, you are working at the back of the plane. So yeah, forward and aft, back and front and back. Well, yeah. Number 4 is going to be PAX. You usually don't say, I've never heard anyone say PAX out loud. People usually don't say like PAX out loud, but when you're writing, it's an abbreviation for passenger. So you'll usually see PAX, usually capitalized, sometimes not, depending on the person or whatever. But yeah, PAX is just short for passengers. It's just a quick way to write it out because You know, sometimes you might have to fill out like a IOR or something like that, whatever your company does, basically saying X, Y, and Z happened. Or if you're just texting a friend or something like that, you might just not feel like writing out the word passenger all the time. So it's commonly abbreviated as PAX, P-A-X. Number 5 is a leg. Okay, a leg is simply a flight. Like yesterday, I had a 3-leg day. So I worked 3 flights that day. Each individual flight is a leg on a trip. So if you have a 4-day trip and let's say you do 14 legs or however many legs, that means you have 14 flights spread across 4 days. Please keep in mind these are just numbers that I'm pulling off the top of my head. I'm not saying that if you become a flight attendant, you're gonna have to work 14 flights in 4 days. I'm also saying that you will not, because I can't guarantee that either way. But what I am saying is that a leg is just 1 flight. From there, number 6 is going to be a turn or a local. So if you do 1 leg somewhere and 1 leg back, that is a turn or a local. So basically just a round trip flight if you do it in the same day. Say I fly from Atlanta to Kalamazoo and Kalamazoo back to Atlanta in the same day. Back to back, that is your turn or your local. It's a 2-leg day, 2-leg trip, however you want to say it, but it's a turn or a local. Number 7 is a line. And I put this one in here because my mom, oftentimes when I'm talking to her and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get a line, because I do not have a line. I had a line twice when I was based out in San Francisco, only due to COVID though, not because of seniority, just because a lot of people took VTO, which is voluntary time off during when COVID first hit. So, you know, I was able to get a line. I do not have one anymore. There are some of our bases that I could hold a line at, but none of them that I actually want to go to, so I'm still on reserve. But basically a line is a set schedule. So it's when you have basically complete control of your schedule almost. Anyway, you already know what trips you're going to be working. When schedules come out the month before, they'll tell you up front what trips you're going to be working, where, when your report times are, usually who you're going to be working with, but that's subject to change based on other line holders or call outs or whatever, people leaving off the trip. But you'll know where you're going and when ahead of time. Versus being on reserve, where you know when you're working, like you know when you're going to be on call, but you don't know if they're actually going to call or use you. You don't know where you're going to be going if that happens. And it's a little bit harder to plan around having reserve, but versus when you have a line, you can drop trips, pick up trips. I mean, you can pick up trips on reserve on your off days, but on your lines, you can drop trips, pick up trips, replace trips with other trips, trade trips. You can drop certain parts of the line. So if you want to work certain parts of the trip, but not others, you can drop that too. You can, there are a lot of different things that you can do when you have a line versus when you're on reserve. But that's essentially what a line is. A line is a clear-cut schedule that you can make changes to pretty much. Number 8 is going to be a deadhead. This is a term that, like, I think because the word dead is in it, people are like, when they don't know what it is, they're like, huh? But yeah, a deadhead is basically where the company needs you to get from one place to another, but they don't need you to work that flight. So they fly you from one place to another as a passenger. You can go in uniform, you can go in plain clothes, that's up to you. And you would usually base whether or not you wear a uniform or not, whether you have a flight immediately after the deadhead, or if you have some time to change, or if you just feel like flying in uniform, or if you just feel like flying in regular clothes. Again, that's up to you. Either way, you're going to get paid for it. They do pay you for deadheading. You just basically fly on the plane as a passenger. And you can drop deadheads, like say it's the end of your trip and the trip finished in a state or a city that you're not based in. Most companies have to return you to base, so they have to send you back. So I'm based in Dallas. Let's say my trip ended where I am right now in Tri-Cities. They would still have to get me back to Dallas. So if they didn't have a flight for me to work from Tri-Cities to Dallas, then they would deadhead me from Tri-Cities to Dallas. They would fly me out from Tri-Cities to Dallas and pay me to take the flight. You know, that's just that. I don't have to work it. But let's say it's the end of my trip, I have a few days off, and I don't want to go back to Dallas. Let's say I want to go to Mexico or somewhere else, or go visit my mom in Atlanta, or go visit my friends or whoever else. I could simply cancel my deadhead and go wherever else I want to go. I could even stay in Tri-Cities if I want to, and then I would just fly out on my benefits or however I chose to do that, but I would still get paid for it even if I canceled the deadhead. You do still get paid for deadheads if you cancel them. Now, I don't recommend canceling a deadhead. Let's say if it's in the middle of your trip and you have to work another flight afterwards, then you wouldn't want to cancel your deadhead. Just go ahead and hold on to that. That way you know you'll get to work on time. Okay, number 9 is going to be KCM. KCM stands for Known Crew Member. KCM is what flight attendants and pilots, crew members essentially, go through instead of like regular TSA. So essentially we kind of just walk up to a KCM stand, and you guys have probably not paid attention, honestly, because I never even noticed KCM signs when I was flying before I became a flight attendant, or before I knew what it was. After I knew what KCM was, I started noticing the signs, but before I heard of it, I never even paid attention. But you may or may not have seen them in your airports. Not all airports have KCM. And this is also a United States thing. We don't have KCM internationally. I'm sure international airports have their own things in their own countries that they let flight crew go through. But for US-based flight attendants, we go through KCM inside of our country. We also cannot use KCM to fly international. So if you are leaving the country, like you can, let's say I'm in Atlanta and I have to fly from Atlanta to New York and then New York to leave the country to get whatever I'm trying to go. Atlanta to New York, I could use KCM, but I would have to leave security and go back through regular security to be searched if I wanted to go from New York to London or something like that. Like before you go international, you have to be searched regular. But if you're just traveling within the bounds of the United States, like inside the country, then you can use KCM. It's super convenient. One of my favorite things about being a flight attendant, because even if you get random, like you get to cut the line. So yeah, like it's very convenient. You don't have to stand in line for TSA all day. Yeah. Number 10, our last and final one. This video is actually longer than I expected. I'm just now noticing I'm almost 15 minutes in. Sorry guys, this is supposed to be a short one. But anyway, number 10 is non-rev. So when you are non-revving, that is non-revenue travel, indicating that you are traveling and the company is not making money off of you taking that flight. That's basically how we fly on our flight benefits. So we fly standby on our flight benefits. Because we are flying free on our flight benefits, the company isn't making any money, so they call it non-revving. Essentially, that's just using your flight benefits. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple, but the first few times I heard it, I was like, what? You what? You're whatting? Non-revving. Yes, you are non-revving. So yeah, you use non-revving for a lot of different things, anything from commuting to work to just leisure travel. It's fun. It's not just for flight crew. Anybody on your flight benefits that is not paying for their flight is non-revving. So yeah, those are my 10 flight attendant lingo terms that I'm giving you guys for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been informative. I am going to do a part 2, possibly even a part 3 to this. Who knows? We'll see. Not today though. So yeah, there will be more parts to this video. I hope you guys learned something today. If you didn't, sorry, but I hope you did anyway. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys in another video. Do me a favor and comment down below and let me know what other types of videos you would like to see, any other flight attendant lingo terms that you've heard and may want to learn, or anything else you want to know about like flight attendant life in general. Don't forget to share this with a friend who is interested in becoming crew, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.